All right, guys, so today we're going to talk about some efficient rowing technique and how you can get some feedback on it by using the monitor. So the first thing that we want to make sure is that we have the monitor set up on the correct setting. And really what you'll notice is if you kind of like go through this whole display setting, you come across here where we'll have a little like power graph. So that's super important to find. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to have Elijah give us some pulls. He's a good rower, he's a strong athlete, so we'll try to see what it should look like. What it should look like is if I were to take a ball and throw it, it should have a nice curve to it where that peak is at the top. What we'll use to identify this and how it'll look with what he's doing when he does some of the faults is you'll see peaks in weird places, but it should be kind of like that nice arc. All right, Elijah, go ahead and just give us a few rows. So he's really driving through with those arms nice and straight. And he's getting this nice torque curve, right? Boom, one big arc. Okay. So next, what we're going to show you is sometimes we'll get like an early arm pull. So some people just get so excited they're going to pull with those arms. And we're going to see what happens in that torque curve as it's reflected with that technique. So let's go ahead and do that early arm pull. So you can see he's really excited. He wants to pull, and so his arms are activating first, and so you're going to get a bump up early where there's some torque on that chain, but then it kind of drops because the difference, he can't sustain it because he's starting to drive away from his arms and he just can't hold it there. And it's not nearly as connected as if he just keeps his shoulder blades back and his arms straight, just like a strong deadlift, right? So we get that double kind of bump. So again, it doesn't mean that you can't have good times with some of these techniques. It just means that you're probably going to overload something that you don't need to overload. His legs are going to be much stronger than the arms almost 100% of the time. So let's use those legs and make sure that everything's integrated. The second one is where we get people or they end up kind of shooting their butt back too fast and they don't really integrate through their core enough, and then they end up leaning back and pulling. So we also have a start-stop, or we have another 1-2, and that'll reflect in the graph as well. So show us what that looks like, that 1-2. This probably a little exaggerated, but this is what it looks like. So we get this 1-2 kind of, where it kind of shoots up. So this is hips, and then the torque drops, and then boom, this is where they finish with the arms. So we can start to see like these inefficient or incongruent kind of torque patterns, and the athlete may not feel it. And here's the thing, it's hard. We see this stuff as coaches, as PTs, whatever it might be. But sometimes it's giving the person some biofeedback, or say like, I need you to figure out how to make that smooth. I want you to hear everything that I've said, maybe some of the drills that I've given you, some of the, whatever it might be that you have in your little repertoire, like cue book. But you need to have them be able to look at this and see, well, how do I make that smoother? Oh, look at that. And maybe they can kind of figure it out. So again, this monitor is really good feedback for the athlete. It's really good feedback to the coach to know where they're bleeding off energy. And it can be super helpful in getting your athletes dialed in.